Hey guys, before we get started, this Friday, March 25th, catch me at this 420 show I'm doing. I'm really excited about doing it. It's for a production company called Competition Zero that I really like and I really believe in. And I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with them. So if you guys get a chance, it's at 4440 Arville Street, Suite 20. You'll notice it's kind of an industrial area, but it's worth going to. Doors open at 7. The show starts at 8. And when I mean the show starts at 8, the show starts at 8. So it's not one of these where it says it starts at 8. You're going to be waiting at 10. The show starts at 8. You can smoke. People drink there. It's a good time. I'm going to be performing. I don't know who else is on the show, but I'm excited to find out. Now let's get started. I don't even know where to begin, and I know you hate long emails. The stage was the only place I felt happy after 7 years of hell. Almost 6 years with my cousin in LA, her jackal friends when they evicted me, having to come back here, all the BS here, the garbage scene Vegas has turned into. I can't type enough about how bad the scene is here. It's probably just a break, but I don't want to get on stage here anymore. I cry every time I think about not performing. It breaks my heart. I put 7 years into building this scene for these to come in and shit on it and me. And it is once again time to get unbothered. Take your alligator.
Everything bothers him.
All the comics can go ahead and leave now.
He's unbothered.
Take your alligator.
He calls it unbothered, but
Angie, bye.
that's what's cute.
I just got a huge casting call.
Because everything bothers him. He's bothered. I'm a botherina.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Unbothered by Ty Rivera. That's right, it's Unbothered by Ty Rivera. I'm your host, the messy-headed Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Snoopy Bijou, my co-host, is currently enjoying a Whimzees Alligator. Whimzees Alligators, the never-to-be sponsor of Unbothered by Ty Rivera, but we still give them a shout-out, and we still put our Amazon affiliates link for Whimzees Alligators down below in the description box. Check it out if you guys need anything from Amazon. That is the link you click. So that was me reading what was part of one of the emails that Angie Crum had sent to that other person when everything started last week. Because I talked about that on, was it the last episode? I think it was the last episode. Maybe the episode before. Whatever it was the one where I said Angie Crum stabbed me in the back. I don't think everybody, possibly including Angie, because I haven't spoken with her since then, really got that I was saying that no matter what, I like Angie and I don't really care what anybody says about Angie or tells me Angie says about me. There's nothing that's going to turn me on Angie. So that's all I was saying with that whole thing, which was a long way to say it, but also I think it was fun and important, and I think that I said plenty of stuff that should give people more context to dealing with me. And I think people need as much context as possible when dealing with me, especially here on the Vegas scene, because I'm not leaving the Vegas scene. So you might as well get to understand my thinking and understand why things are happening the way that they're happening, because if you're going to be on the Vegas scene, things I do and say are going to affect you. That's just what's going to happen. It's already happened with people that thought they were above it and ended up finding out that they weren't. So you can either find yourself in the know or find yourself out in the cold. It's up to you where you want to find yourself. I personally don't care where you find yourself. I personally could give a what happens to most people on this scene when it comes to what's been established. Like the newer up and coming people, I admit a lot of you, I have your backs. A lot of you, I actually do enjoy your company. I do enjoy hanging out with you. I do enjoy doing the mics with you, watching you guys learn, helping you out where I can. But as far as what's been established as being good in Vegas comedy, no, it's really not. Like, people think I go after Jocelyn Sharp and Brandon Guchan because I have something personal against them. Yeah, I don't particularly like the way they've conducted themselves in certain situations. That would be true. But really, that's not my problem. My real problem with Jocelyn Sharp and Brandon Guchan is neither of them are very good at stand-up, but for some reason, they hold this position in Vegas where people like Shawn Fitzsimmons, who maybe we'll talk about today, maybe we'll wait till the next episode, one way or another, we're eventually going to talk about Shawn Fitzsimmons again. Trust me, believe me, we will be talking about Shawn Fitzsimmons again, because I do have some ideas on where I think he needs to be correcting himself and what he could be doing a little bit better. And when it comes to stand-up, let's say all the way. When it comes to your stand-up, Shawn Fitzsimmons, completely overhaul that 5-year-old could have written that set. When it comes to the actual stand-up, Shawn Fitzsimmons, stop worrying about using your room to network and actually do what you need to do to be a stand-up comedian if that's what you want to be. Because in 20 years, I have seen a million of you that thought that they were going to be able to work their way around comedy by not actually doing comedy and instead partying with people and running a room. You've got a hot room. It's a Tuesday night though. Nobody's selling their soul for a Tuesday night except you. So keep that in mind when you're kissing the wrong asses, Shawn Fitzsimmons. But for now, that's all I'm going to say on that, I think. Summer Sinclair is wrecking herself. And let me get back to the Angie Crumb situation, because there was something important that I wanted to say on the Angie Crumb situation. I do agree with Angie Crumb that this scene has turned into shit. I do agree with that 100%. Well, it had turned into shit. Now it's on the come up again. That's what I will tell you about this scene. There's some exciting things that are happening. There's some exciting things that are on their way. I'm not going to bullshit when I say that Wise Guys is a part of what's actually reviving this scene right now. I do truly feel that way. The opportunities that they're giving to people, the way that they're allowing the newer comics to come up, they're letting the newer comics actually run the open mic, whether it's the Tuesday, which is the bucket open mic, or the Wednesday, which is the actual open mic. Wise Guys is really stepping up to the plate. So where LA Comedy Club has been falling short, and I talked about that on the last episode, I will also give credit where it's due and say that Wise Guys is doing its best to help out the local scene. So there's that. But as far as what Angie Crumb was saying, I do agree with her that a lot of the scene has fallen to shit. But at the same time, I personally know Angie Crumb. I am her cheerleader, but I don't see Angie Crumb out enough that I can say Angie should be getting these opportunities instead. When Angie had expressed to me, because we had discussed something similar when she was doing my hair, and when she had expressed to me that she wasn't necessarily happy with that part of it, I did keep my thoughts to myself, and I should have told her that she just wasn't getting up enough to really be on the scene, because that's what it does take on the local scene. You know, once you've made it to the level of a Bill Burr, a Dave Chappelle, or a Jim Jeffries, or, you know, any of those like comics that we all know, then you can do your own thing and not really worry about the local scene. But when you're working your way up, when you're trying to actually figure out what you're doing on on your local scene and trying to progress that way, you do have to be out. Nobody's just going to knock on your door. Nobody's just thinking about you like that. And that goes for all of us. I would even consider myself in that pile to a certain degree, because here in Vegas, I do like to get up a lot. Like, I could continue to do the road, which there are like comics that headline here in town, that headline all over the country that happen to live here in town, that don't bother going up here in town and don't care about the local scene. And they're just fine. You know, I could do that. I could continue to work on the road and not worry about the local scene at all. But Vegas is really where I eventually want to figure everything out, as far as me being able to stay in Vegas all the time and not have to go on the road really ever. So eventually I want to figure out an actual residency situation, which we tried that with the Thunderbird. It didn't work out the best, but I don't care about those things, because I learned so much in that situation that I really don't feel like it's like it was a waste of time or a waste of my efforts. I had great shows. Like I said, I've got plenty of clips that I can use for my social media, and that's going to be great. But I don't at all look at that as like it was a failure in any way. It was just something that in the end was not going to be workable. But when it comes to Angie specifically, which is what I was talking about, like, I do agree, because I think Angie's very funny. I think Angie's very talented. I like her personality off stage as well. And I think she's got all the components to do all the things that she wants to do in stand-up. But I know that Angie doesn't really want to be out like that. And I get that. But what you did 7 years ago in this scene doesn't necessarily add up to you should get special treatment now. Like, that's the problem that I was expressing when it comes to Jocelyn Sharp and Brandon Gooch Han. Like, those two don't really get up, and the only thing that they did that you didn't do, Angie, was they stayed in town. So where you went to LA and tried to do something else, tried to check something else out, they stayed local. And for some reason, certain people on this scene look at that as like them now having some kind of seniority, which that isn't the way stand-up comedy works. It doesn't work based off of seniority. Just you being here isn't enough for you to get any kind of special treatment. Like, there are comics that have been, they helped start this scene, and for some reason they do think that that means that they're entitled to something, but plain and simple, it just doesn't. If you stop, I was on the LA scene for 14 years. I would not go back to LA and expect that everybody's just going to roll out the red carpet for me. I know that certain places will. I know that the places that matter will. But as far as like me just popping into any open mic and being like, hey, my name's Ty Rivera. I was on this scene for 14 years and you should just bump me ahead in the line, or everybody should just book me for everything right now. I wouldn't expect that. And like I said, I was very much on that scene. Anybody that's been on that scene or knows that scene will tell you that that was a scene that I was very much on. But I still wouldn't expect anything from that scene. Speaking of expecting, I wanted to talk about a comedian by the name of Summer Sinclair. And, like with this situation, because I know that a lot of the Vegas comedians are going to be like, Summer Sinclair? Why are you even talking about Summer Sinclair? Are you running out of things to talk about, Ty? Are you in a desperate moment? Have the pills finally gotten to your brain? Maybe all three. But I wanted to... Excuse me. My hernia hurts when I laugh, and I apparently tickle me. So if nobody else finds me funny, I do. But anyway, but it could be all three. I legit could be all three. It could be pills. It could be. I've run out of things to talk about. It could be I'm just getting bitter. I don't fucking know. All I know is that Summer Sinclair is a person that I wanted to talk about because in this instance, it's not about the individual, it's about the example. So I want to talk about this as an example for the newer comedians, the younger comedians, just an example of how not only you kind of could be fucking yourself over in certain cases about things that really don't matter. Also, how you shouldn't expect to get special treatment from people when really your act or you have done nothing to warrant that. Also, how sometimes maybe you're attacking the wrong person and not realizing that the person that you're attacking was the person that actually stood up for you in the first place. And I've seen that happen more than once in stand-up. So I think it's important for the comedians, at least on the Vegas scene, to understand what the situation was with Summer Sinclair is and how Summer Sinclair is right now really screwing herself, whether or not she realizes it, because there's the conversations that you see happen that everybody has in public, and then there's the conversations behind the scenes, which I'm not a big behind the scenes guy. Like, you can do things and I will keep everything public. Like when you see me talk shit about people on Unbothered, that's usually the extent that I'll talk about people. And you can talk to some of my closest friends and they'll tell you that I'll say things that are very similar to what I said on Unbothered, but there's not like a whole like, this person needs to be taken off whatever shows. This person, we need to go after what it is they're doing. That's not the way that this works. I personally keep things very public. And I think that that's a smarter way for me to keep things. And so, and also I just don't like the sneaky shit. I just have never liked the sneaky shit. So anyway, here's the deal with Summer Sinclair and how she may not realize she's fucking herself. Summer Sinclair is a newer comedian. I don't know how long she's been doing stand-up. I do know that she has been on the Vegas scene for a little bit now. And for a minute there, it was like, she was just a newer comedian as far as I knew, trying to figure shit out, trying to make shit work. And it was cool, like we were all pretty cool with her. She was just another person on the scene. Then she started putting on Facebook, in different comment threads and stuff like that she wasn't getting booked enough, that people weren't using her enough. Why weren't people using her? And I was never nice enough to just chime in and be like, because you're not that funny yet. And that's really the way I felt when I first saw her complain about that. I was like, why is Summer Sinclair complaining about not getting booked enough when really Summer Sinclair isn't funny enough to really be getting booked like that right now? Like, this is puzzling to me. I don't know why Summer Sinclair doesn't understand. Does she not look at her tapes afterwards? Is she not paying attention to what she's doing? But I went ahead and stayed out of it. So at the bar that we run the open mic at, me and AJ Rivera, which AJ Rivera really runs that mic. I cannot express that enough, especially since I've been, hurt. Well, had my surgery, so I obviously couldn't be there on Thursday night. I won't be there this coming Thursday, but we give out a $25 prize to the best set of the night. And then we have a feature who goes up first and does 15 minutes. And we put them up first so that they can go ahead and get out of there if they want to get out of there. They don't have to hang out all night to do their 15-minute set. We allow comics to stretch out. A lot of times we use comics that aren't necessarily headliners yet. We have had a few headliners that have come out and done it for us. But in a lot of cases, we're just like, here, stretch out. Work your 15 minutes. You're not actually going to get paid for the 15 minutes. We're very upfront about that from the beginning so that everybody knows it. And so the reason I bring this up is because there was a point where AJ hit me up and he was like, hey, why don't we have Summer Sinclair be our feature for a week? My immediate answer was no. And that's what I said. Or like, we were on the phone and I was like, no, we're not having Summer Sinclair feature. And he was like, said something, and I was like, yeah, I just don't think she's ready. It's not, I don't have any personal feelings or negative personal feelings towards Summer, which I didn't. I thought she was a nice enough lady. She's working on her stuff, but her stand-up wasn't there yet, and I didn't think she was ready to do 15 minutes, so I said no to that. So then AJ was like, well, she seems to be catching a bit of momentum, and I was just thinking that maybe we could help her with some of that momentum. So the deal was AJ wanted to help Summer Sinclair get her momentum up. More people were starting to use her, and he thought that maybe if we featured her, that would help her get even more spots. So I try not to argue too much, and like I said, AJ does so much to run that room that I really wasn't going to give him a hard time about it. So I was like, okay, then let's have Summer Sinclair feature. So we decided that was the way it was going to be. I didn't give AJ a lot of guff about that because, one, I knew he was going to learn his lesson quickly with this one. But also, I didn't know it was going to turn out the way it was going to turn out. So later on, there's a situation where we have to cancel a show. And it was because the nighttime chef over at Ocha Bar, which is where we hold our mic, ended up getting COVID. So we had to cancel like our feature, everything like that. So somebody trying to be shady towards AJ said, are you still going to pay your feature even though the show has been canceled? And at that point, Summer saw it as her opportunity to jump in and say that she didn't get paid when she had featured and make it seem like in some way we had victimized her, which we had not at all victimized her in any way. We're very upfront with people. Like I just said it on my podcast. If it were a secret, if it were something that we were trying to keep under wraps, I wouldn't say it on my podcast. I just said it. We don't pay our features. In the first message, like text message that I send to anybody when I ask them to feature for us is we do not pay our feature, but if you would like to do it, if you would like to stretch out, if you would like to get 15 minutes, we would love to have you. So that should not have been a thing at all when it came to Summer Sinclair. But instead, Summer Sinclair took the opportunity to let us know. We'll let AJ know, because she's on AJ's thread, doesn't mention me at all because she's smarter than that, because she knows that I'm probably closer to screwing yourself and fucking with me than you are with AJ. So instead you went after AJ, which I really don't respect that because like I just finished saying, you're going after AJ, not being smart enough to realize, Summer, that AJ was the one that had your back, that AJ was the one that wanted to do it to help you out, to help you get more momentum, which is what you were complaining about when you were saying nobody's booking you, right? Is you wanted momentum. You wanted to get ahead. But instead of being thankful when somebody tries to help you get ahead, instead you try to throw that person under the bus because not only did you think you should be getting more stage time, you also thought that you should get money. Well, let me tell you guys this about Summer Sinclair's set when she actually did Ocha Bar. Anybody that was there would tell you she ate shit. She did not do well at all. So I knew as soon as that happened with AJ, I literally told AJ at the end of the night, I was like, so Summer Sinclair turned out to be a mistake, right? Now you understand why I said Summer Sinclair. And I wasn't a dick about it, but I was telling him, now you understand why it was I was telling you that we should not have Summer Sinclair feature. And so, he started laughing because if you know AJ, he's just a good-natured guy in general. And so he was just like, yeah, I get what you're saying, doggy. He's fucking... If you know AJ, that's exactly the way he said it. And it was cool. I mean, I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't mad at Summer. I wasn't mad at AJ at that point, after she didn't do well or whatever. It did get on my nerves that she tried to talk to me afterwards, and it was during other people's sets, and she was trying to talk to me about her set, and then also asking about coaching and that kind of stuff, which she's already expressed that she thinks the coaching that I offer is too expensive, which I get that, Summer. Then don't hire me. That's what it is. I'm not bringing my coaching down because you think that it should be a certain price for you because you think you have this potential that I personally don't see. Really, I don't even want to coach you because I know you'd be a hardhead and I know you'd be a problem and I wouldn't want to coach you even if I doubled my fee. I wouldn't. Well, maybe if I doubled my fee, I would still coach you. I just wouldn't listen to you ever. But I have no interest in dealing with Summer Sinclair on any level after, she gave AJ a hard time. And I didn't say anything at that point either. I just was like, I didn't mention anything to Summer herself. I did jump on the thread and let everybody know, we don't offer to pay our features. It's just not something we do when we make more money there because it's not like the plan to just not pay the features. It's that the room itself doesn't make a lot of money for us. So, I've expressed this before on actual social media before. I basically make no money. And by basically no money, I mean, sometimes I'll come away with $3 to $5. And I'm not exaggerating at all. I don't make money off of that room, especially since I am the one that pays out the $25. That's just what it is. And AJ, I've said this before too, because he does a flyer, because he does the hosting, because he does so much at that room, I wouldn't even ask him how about we go halves on the $25? That's not what it is. AJ should get a couple dollars. He should get more than a couple of dollars. Technically, he should get more money than set of the night. But AJ makes his little bit of money, and that covers him actually making the flyer, doing the stuff that he has to do. So, it just is what it is. If we had more money to give, we would definitely do that. But right now, that's not what it is. So you either take the show the way it is, or you don't come out, or you don't choose to feature for us. Anybody can say no, and we're never going to be like, oh, well, if you're not going to feature for us, you can't actually do the mic, or we're not going to be friends with you. We're not that kind of people, neither of us. I get it. If you say that, you're not doing it. But the fact of the matter is, I still do free spots around town for my friends, or when, I'll still go perform at open mics. I just discussed that a few minutes ago. You think I'm getting paid when I'm at open mics? Not most. Sometimes I get paid to do an open mic, but for the most part, I just show up and do an open mic for free, just like everybody else. Maybe I buy something and invest a couple of dollars. That's the way open mics work. So when you're Summer Sinclair and you've done nothing and you're not even that funny and you're busting my balls, or busting AJ's balls about the fact that you didn't get paid to feature when you were never told you were going to get paid to feature in the first place, that has already started getting on my nerves. So, but like I said, I addressed everybody and just let everybody know the way it works. That was dead for then. Then we had a situation a couple weeks ago where I noticed comics were working at this particular place called The Patio. The Patio, I found out, doesn't offer to pay the comics really anything. It pays the host minimally. But they still have these ridiculous rules there. There's just a lot of problems with the patio. I'm not going to go into all the problems with the patio. I'll just tell you guys, there's just a lot of bullshit going on at the patio. So I feel like at these points, it is my place to stand up as a comic that's been around a while and just say, look, I think this is fucking bullshit. I don't think people should be running those running shows there anymore because they don't treat the talent well. And that's just what it was. So I went ahead and sent that, and I went ahead and posted that on social media. And then Summer Sinclair pops in my fucking DMs. The night I did Ocha, I didn't get paid, and I felt I should have got paid something. And I was like, bitch, you ain't shit. That's just what it was. You didn't do well at Ocha. It's, and technically AJ was the only reason you were on that show. If they had left it up to me, you would have never featured on the show. And she tried to go on, and here's the thing you don't get, Summer. There's nothing to argue. You just haven't figured it out yet. Watch your videos honestly and tell yourself how you're doing. Don't tell yourself what you want to see. No, like she told me about I watched my tape from Ocha. I actually got some good laughs. No, bitch, I got some good laughs in the back of the room because I said a few things that were funny during your set. And when that happened, in my head, I thought there was a chance that you would think that those laughs were for you. They weren't. If you notice, they weren't timed with what you were saying. And yeah, maybe I shouldn't have been talking in the back of the room, but at that point, I had something I had to handle, and I also had something witty I wanted to say. So there were laughs happening in the room during your set. You're right. They weren't coming from the things you were saying on the mic. So there's that. Then there's the fact that Summer Sinclair has also commented before to the people that run the Fun Day shows, which however I feel about Ian and Juliana personally is completely nothing to do with this. I do have Ian and Juliana's side when I hear that Summer Sinclair has jumped on their threads before because like there's Sunday Fun Day show, Monday Fun Day show, there's a couple Fun Day shows. They're a brand here in Vegas and they run shows several nights a week. I've talked about them before. But with these shows, a lot of times they'll post like a bunch of pictures at the end of the night or the next day, and it'll be all the comics that showed up, or a lot of the comics that showed up. Not all the comics, because apparently Summer Sinclair wasn't included a week or two, or who knows how long they didn't include her. I don't know. They didn't include Summer Sinclair because all I know was I get told about it later on. Did you see Summer Sinclair complaining to the Fun Day shows? You didn't use my picture on your show. Bitch, nobody wants you in their pictures, maybe. Maybe nobody thought you made that big of a contribution. Maybe in your head you have more going on than is actually going on. Does it ever occur to anybody that maybe you're a bigger deal in your own brain? Maybe I'm talking to myself right now. Who knows? But right now, let's focus on Summer Sinclair. Maybe you're doing more in your brain than you're actually fucking doing. Maybe that's what's happening, Summer, because you're pissing off the Fun Day people because they don't have you in their pictures. And guess what? It's not promised anywhere that you're going to be in pictures. You don't have to be in pictures. If people choose not to include you in their slideshow, maybe you just didn't make the cut this year, bitch. Maybe next year make a better price. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you because it seems like you want a lot for somebody that's really done nothing. And that's the most I can say about Summer Sinclair right now. And that's the lesson I want everybody to take from this, is understand that sometimes people are trying to help you. They're just not helping you the way you want to be helped. Like AJ was willing to help her, wanted to get her some momentum, wanted to help her get some more spots, was using our room to do it. But money wasn't involved, and money wouldn't have been involved for anybody that was going to take that slot that week. So you got treated literally like everybody else, except for the intention AJ had was actually better than the intentions towards a lot of people. Because a lot of people, we just think, they'd be able to stretch out for 15 minutes. They'd be able to do it, and they might be willing to. And, let's check in with them. With you, AJ was taking that extra step in thinking, like, maybe we can help her get more stuff. And instead of you seeing it for the gift that it was, instead you saw it as something to complain about. Maybe on the Fun Day pictures, Maybe Juliana accidentally took a picture of you where your eyes were closed. Maybe somebody was distracting her at that point. Maybe she went to the bar to get something to drink and she didn't actually take a picture of you. There are several reasons that you might not have gotten a picture on the Fun Day shows, and they might not have been malicious at all. So for you to try to turn it into they should have you, why should they? Why? What does your picture contribute to the Fun Day shows? Does it help with promotions? Are people going to see that Summer Sinclair made an appearance at the Fun Day shows and now start showing up to Fun Day shows in huge numbers, in droves? Is that going to happen, Summer? Because I really don't think it is. Anyway, let this be a lesson to the other comics. Please stop acting like you're owed things that you're not owed. You're not entitled to anything on this scene. You either work hard and get somewhere that way, and people want to feature you, want to put you in pictures, want to pay you, know that you deserve to get paid, or you just haven't gotten there yet. And stop blaming other people for where you haven't gotten. You haven't gotten where you haven't gotten because you just haven't gotten there yet. And maybe you need to work a little harder. And maybe I need to do my hair. And maybe I need to take another pain pill now, which I've been very sparing in the pain pills. I'm going to talk about my recovery process later this week. Anyway, you guys can all talk shit about how fucked up my hair was on this episode. I really don't care. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Stay unbothered.